Hey everybody, it's Garm here. How y'all doing? I just took a little break. I was outside doing some yard work and just felt like coming in and doing a video. I didn't really prepare except just grabbed a stack of CDs of an artist I've been currently listening to. One of my all-time favorites, Ray Lynch. Considered one of the more popular of the New Age genre, and someone I've been a fan of since I was about 14, like a lot of others of this genre. And well, start right in here with his first album, 1983's The Sky of Mind. Beautiful blend of electronic and acoustic, mostly like chamber instruments, violin, cello, flutes, recorders. He started out as a Renaissance lute player, and at some point in the 70s, I guess he had something of a spiritual, existential crisis, wasn't sure what he was doing next with music and life in general. And he met a spiritual teacher who kind of encouraged him in a lot of ways, and he eventually started making his own music in his own way, inspired a little bit of what he was hearing at the time, and this was the result. It's one of my all-time favorite albums of any genre, any artist. Yeah, just a beautiful blend of synthesizer, strings, and woodwinds. Each piece is linked by Tibetan bells, which gives it kind of a suite quality, like a musical suite construction here. I've got the kitty in my lap, so a little distracted here. This is Mr. Mudd, the older of the two. But yeah, this is just a beautiful album, and I'd recommend his introduction would be, even though it sounds different than what came after, it's still, to me, it's just one of a kind. Oh, this is a reissue of the same album on Windham Hill. The original one was on Music West. The second album here, and probably his best known, Deep Breakfast. This is what I first heard his music off of. I think it was around 1990, between 8th grade and freshman year. And the song that's playing now is called The O of Pleasure, which is the song that I first heard of his, and just to this day it's one of my all-time favorites. A sequencer. Yeah, it just has this beautiful kind of hypnotic quality to it, and I've enjoyed it ever since. And this continues with the blend of classical chamber instruments with synthesizer, getting a little more into the technology, and has kind of a lighter, bouncier, more whimsical tone to it, which he became really well known for. But yeah, it's considered his classic record, and probably my second favorite personally. His third one from I don't know if I mentioned 1984. Deep Breakfast came out in 1984. His third one came out in 1989. No Blue Thing, and it really kind of continues on with Deep Breakfast. That same kind of bouncy, whimsical feel. Some said it had kind of a pop. It became too pop for some people's taste. I didn't really hear the pop music in it much. It just, again, I think he got more into the technology, utilizing the synthesizers in a more detailed way, along with the acoustic, the chamber instruments, like viola and flute and cello. But any one of these would be a good representation of what he does best. I always love his covers. His music was later reissued on Windham Hill with different covers, and then came out in his own Ray Lynch productions. And so far, his latest studio album, Nothing But My Shoulders But the Evening, from 1993. This goes a little more in the direction of the acoustic rather than the synthesizers. You could hear like more of his Renaissance and classical in general roots. Here's some of the pictures of like the reissued albums of his. And there he is there in the middle. This is like a very nice wintertime album, I find, especially around the holidays. It doesn't sound like Christmas music, but it has that, to me, it just has that kind of feel of that time of year, the winter solstice. And the titles of many of his albums and many of his songs are either quotes or sections of text of writings of his spiritual teacher, who I'll get to soon here. But yeah, this is his most recent actual studio album, and I hope to hear more, like a full length eventually. And here's his best of compilation. Yeah, nice representation of his 4 studio albums. Plus, there's 2 new cuts, or more recent cuts, relative to the time. Ralph's Rhapsody and The Music of What Happens. There at the top. It's a little more recent there. And actually, there's a remix here of his Celestial Soda Pop. Actually, well, right now is Celestial Soda Pop, the original. This is probably considered his most popular tune. Well, let me get to the remix here, which is kind of interesting. I'd never heard his music being done this way. Play a quick snippet of this here. What's funny is I brought this by my grandparents' house, and bless their hearts, they're 87 years old, and my grandma, she liked this song the most, this kind of dance club version. They have a caretaker, lives with them part-time, and she was bobbing her head to it, and it was just a really nice moment. We were listening to it during dinner. Everything kind of came together really nicely that day. Yeah, you could hear that very kind of 90s dance club thing. But, just wanted to share that real quick. That was a fun moment. But yeah, any of his albums, to me, it would be a good introduction, and it was somehow linked to the others. And yeah, this is as good as any. And his work is really easily accessible, not just listener-wise, but finding it. I mean, I've seen it in, like dollar bins. I see it at half-price books a lot in the CDs. I haven't seen anything of his on vinyl, although I'm guessing Deep Breakfast is probably on vinyl somewhere. But I've only found the CDs over the years. But yeah, it's very easy to find. Oh, finally here, Truth is the Only Profound. These are readings from the works of his teacher, Avatar Adi Das Samraj. He was a spiritual teacher who went under numerous aliases and was a very influential person, but also quite controversial from what I understand, but very influential upon Ray Lynch getting his music going, as the inspiration behind his music as well as his life in general. And I think he even said in an interview, Ray Lynch, that if it weren't for his teacher, he doesn't know what he would be doing music-wise, so we might not hear these albums if it weren't for that meeting. I picked this up a couple of years ago. This actually came out before his first album, but I think it was more representative of his teacher than he basically did the music. It's kind of a backdrop for the readings. Some of it was actually, I think, early versions of what came out on The Sky of Mind. So I was happy to find this and complete the collection. And last I heard, I'm not sure what he's working on musically, but I understand he's working on a book on mathematics, tying together mathematics, cosmology, physics. It's supposed to be a really large. He's been working on it for like a decade now, and I guess he'll go under his full name, Raymond Lynch, whenever it comes out. So I look forward to that and any other future music of his. So yeah, again, I highly recommend it if you're going to start out with this music. Just about any one of them will work out. Deep Breakfast is his most well known, so that might be a good spot to start. As I say, The Sky of Mind is my all-time favorite, though. If I'm talk about the cliche of being stranded on a desert island, or the mothership comes and gets you, this is so it would be my I can listen to it for eternity. It's just that kind of album, and he's that kind of artist, someone I've just loved for a long time, and a continued source of inspiration. So yeah, I think that'll do it now. Get back outside and do a little yard work. It's finally the season. It's finally warming up, and time to get back into it. And yeah, this is Mr. Mudd, everybody. The elder of the two. Just want to introduce him. He's been with me for about 12 years now, and it was the first time he's sort of joined me for a video here, maybe a little reluctantly, but well, I hope you're all doing well, and have a pleasant weekend, and until next time. Peace, love, and joy to you all.